At the start of the film, the two experienced climbers, Kelly and her best friend, Sophie, are packing and preparing their climbing gears for Mount Antelao, Italy's largest Dolomite mountain, for the following morning. Shortly after, a close group of friends has arrived in the camp. Sophie thought these guys would be a fun addition to the hiking adventure. Shortly after, one of the guys comes up to their cabin. Josh, an obviously misogynist-looking guy, invites Sophie and Kelly to their campfire party. Meanwhile, it seems that the three members of this group of friends, Reynolds, Taylor, and Zach, secretly despise Josh. Josh appears to be a difficult person and acts violent around them, but no one can stand up to him. Sophie persuades Kelly, convincing her that they will only join them for one drink and that's it. Though Kelly doesn't really want to come, she couldn't say no to her best friend. Sophie was overjoyed when Kelly agreed. Later in that night, they sat around the bonfire getting to know each other. Sophie mentions that they will climb Mt. Antelao's most difficult route, the face, 10,000 feet in altitude. Sophie brags too much to these strangers, and something about Sophie's personality triggers Josh's unstable mental health and aggression. For some reason, he felt deeply offended. Kelly eventually returns to their cabin to call it a night, and Sophie stays with these strangers for a short time, unaware of the danger she is in. Josh and Sophie were drunk and appear to be having a good time. Exchange kisses. Sophie went to pee. Josh had a discussion with his group, which changed his mood. Josh follows Sophie in the woods. Josh, the group's leader, becomes violent and tries to force himself on Sophie. The three guys heard the commotion. They are all opposed to Josh's actions. One of them, Reynolds, the only genuine guy amongst the four, brawls with him in order to prevent Josh from raping Sophie. Sophie, however, flees into the woods out of fear. The group went after Sophie to explain that it's just a misunderstanding, but Josh obviously has something bad in mind. Sophie tried to escape, but she's drunk and scared. She was cornered not long after. She bit one of them out of fear. When Josh punched her in the face, she fell off the cliff. Everyone was stunned by what Josh had done to her. They went down to check on her. She appeared to be severely injured but still alive. Everyone panics. Reynolds, the only nice guy, takes out his phone to tries to call for help, but Josh stops him. He begs and persuades the other two, Zach and Taylor, to stand up and do what is right, which is to call for help. Josh threatened his mate to participate in this crime. Sophie bit Zach, and the bite marks could be evidence that Zach was involved. The two guys are afraid of being locked up for a crime and having their lives ruined. Remorseless psychopath Josh mentioned that they have done it before and they can get away with their crimes again. Kelly heard the scream. She immediately returns to the campfire to check in with her best friend. She couldn't see anyone at the bonfire spot. She looks for them and finds them on the edge of the cliff, throwing Sophie's lifeless body. Confounded and terrified by what is happening, she hides and videotapes the crime for the sake of evidence. Kelly lets out an audible gasp. Made them notice her. The chase has begun, and she must now run for her life, or she will certainly be murdered by these four criminals, just as Sophie was. She returns to the cabin, grabs her climbing gear. Kelly is climbing the mountain to escape. Taylor, who came the closest to catching up with her, knows where she's going, the face. Kelly is in danger, so she scales the mountain to get away from her attackers. Taylor nearly pursues her and tries to drag her down, but Kelly unintentionally kicks him away. He fell off, and with his leg broken, he obviously can't pursue Kelly any further. They have taken Taylor to their cabin. He is in excruciating pain due to his busted leg. Josh advises him to wait 24 hours before calling for help. They return to the face to get Kelly. They are confident that without proper equipment and a jacket, she couldn't get down easily and will most likely freeze to death. In this scene, it shows that Zach and Taylor seemingly as emotionless as and violent as Josh is. Reynolds, seems the only sympathetic one, tried to convince Zach to abandon their plan. Zach, on the other hand, refuses. Josh pretends to have forgotten his gloves so he can return to the cabin and murder Taylor. Kelly finds strength in remembering what brought her on this trip. She is still recovering over her boyfriend's death. Kelly is having flashbacks of her boyfriend, who died on a mountain trip she took with him a year ago. She also has precious memories with her best friend, and she will never, ever let them get the camera to get justice for Sophie. She keeps scaling cliffs. Her survival skills were put to the test because she lacked proper climbing equipment, food, and water, and a weapon to defend herself. She realizes she must find a way to survive while outwitting this gang of criminals. Josh tried to fool her that all they needed was for her to hand over the camera and she would be fine. But they all knew that this was a lie. He came up there to murder Kelly because she is a witness. Kelly may not have their physical strength, but they cannot take away her will to live. Kelly wishes she could stay awake, but she has been exhausted and needs to charge up and rest. She entered the tent and promptly fell asleep. While Kelly is sleeping, Josh sends Zach down to get the camera. Kelly tries to fight back, grabs the knife she found on that tent and stabs Zach on the leg several times. Zach was severely injured by that stabs she gave him, which made Zach no good anymore for Josh. While Josh is asleep, Zach, who is injured, begs Reynolds to get him off the mountain because he is bleeding to death. Reynolds tries to calm him down by saying help is on the way because Taylor must have called for help, just like what they instructed them to do after 24 hours. Zach admits that he believes Josh murdered Taylor when he got the gloves. Also, Josh's wedding was also called off. Zach told Reynolds to turn on Josh's watch emergency beacon while he was sleeping, but Josh had not been sleeping the entire time and had overheard their conversation. Reynolds woke up and found Zach gone. Josh informed him that Zach had gone down the mountain to be with Taylor in their cabin. Josh killed Zach with a hammer. Josh is getting ready to go down and complete the plan. Reynolds, on the other hand, volunteers. Josh was hesitant at first, but because he was an inexperienced hiker, he delegated the task to Reynolds. Reynolds and Kelly made a deal to lie to Josh about her death. Josh, on the other hand, was furious when he discovered that Kelly had removed the memory card from the camera. Reynolds and Josh fight once more. Josh has a distinct physique advantage over Reynolds. Josh gets rid of all of his men. Josh will have to go down and get Kelly himself. He drops the rope and trades Kelly's ring for the memory card containing their incriminating video. Kelly knew she couldn't compete with his strength. She duped Josh into thinking the card was in a hole in a cliffside, and when he put his hand in there, the snake bit him. She's not going down without a fight. She managed to cut his rope, causing him to fall, and he is now literally clinging to his life. Kelly sees justice for her friend at that point. It's now Josh's turn. She grabs her engagement ring necklace and presses the emergency beacon button on Josh's watch, before he let him die by falling. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoy the video.